Yo, hey guys, Red Marvel here, back again with another review. It was Squid Games. I posted my Squid Game review part one just yesterday. And I've got a few reviews coming on actually. So that's three parts. The second part we posted after this video, but I watched this obviously just yesterday. This is my James Bond No Time to Die movie review. But if you're new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Marvel. Socials are in the description. Smash the notification button. Get involved with the comments. You know the drill, guys. So yeah, I watched James Bond No Time to Die. This is obviously a spoiler review. It's spoilers. So you've been warned. It's a spoiler review. And bro, it's not as bad as I thought, but it's not as good as I thought. And it's weird in that way. It's a weird movie in that sense. So, you know, I think for a lot of people, this was quite a in quote controversial movie. There were things they were trying to do the traditional James Bond franchise, you know, in quote female James Bond, or you know, James Bond isn't a womanizer, all the rest of it. These things that they were trying to make James Bond more 21st century friendly, let's put it that way, going to. So there was a lot of controversy going into this movie, especially from fans, and that was kind of the backdrop. Not to mention the fact that this movie was delayed. So actually going into it, I was like, oh, I know this is Daniel Craig's last movie. Maybe this will just be, you know, just a nice send-off movie. That was my expectation. A nice send-off movie to send off Daniel Craig, and that'll be that, just to wrap things up. And effectively, that's what it is. I just think it could have done a better job at doing at it. The basic premise of this whole movie is that James Bond, obviously, essentially is a sequel to Spectre. It follows from that. James Bond's with his girl, who's the main female lead in this actually, and they kind of effectively gets, you know, it's effectively like he's, you know, this is a girlfriend, whatever, wants to start a new life, and then you fast forward, and then Spectre after him again. They find out where he is. He thinks he's been betrayed by his girl, and then he basically leaves her. He's angry, you know, he feels betrayed. He sends her in the train. I'm not going to speak to you again, all the rest of it. You fast forward a couple of years and you find out that James Bond is now retired. You know, he's not working for MI6 anymore, just doing his thing like in Jamaica, just chilling, enjoying his pension, to be honest. And then, you know, you find out, I got to understand this, because this is the thing about this movie, is that like the first like hour or so is really good. There was a lot of action sequences. There's a nice sequence when they're in where then in South America or or Mexico or something. I can't remember. And there are a few action sequences there that are great to watch. You know, and the way the plot is going, they bring the fact that they bring the villain from Spectre again. You're like, oh wow, what they're going to do with him? And the main guy, I think Sula or something, he basically, his parents were killed by James Bond's girl's parents, and then he for revenge goes to kill her mum. Her dad's, I don't know where her dad's not there, or somewhere, he's gone. And then she then tries to run away, but then she sort of falls, you know, into the she falls into ice, and then she then gets rescued, and then that's basically just sort of what happens. So that's the sort of the premise, and then he just sort of goes on and wants to sort of seek kind of revenge, if that makes any sense, which is fair enough. You know, it's fair enough. But that first hour, setting the stage, you know, they go and try and find out what's going on, because you find out that the MI6, while James Bond is gone, he's made a deal, or he's kind of kept this sort of dubious project alive, New M, and basically it's this project called Hercules or whatever, which essentially is basically nanobots, which can basically be used to they're like DNA based, what we're told. It's crazy stuff, it's nonsensical stuff, but they're DNA based nanobots that can basically be targeted to someone's DNA to basically neutralize them. That's the general gist. I understand it, and the initial purpose was to minimize collateral damage, and they can use it to spread certain I think diseases or disable certain attributes and so on and so on and so forth. So that's that. So unfortunately, that gets into the wrong hands. So that's the first house that establishes that you're like, okay, fair enough. This could actually be one of the best. Because to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I've not been a fan of Daniel Craig as James Bond. This whole James Bond interpretation. For me, James Bond is much more of a classy spy than a action superhero. So I would rather this is just the whole series in total, but I'd rather a James Bond that is more discreet and that is more spy-ish than sort of going from one scene to another, causing havoc and explosions and stuff. That's not really what a spy does. So that's my only personal opinion, but I know a lot of people love these movies, so that's fair enough, but that's just my placement. But yeah, I like that this does seem to focus. It is because unlike the initial trailer where you get introduced to the new black female 007, who people initially were like, oh, she's gonna play 007, she's new James Bond. Like, no, she's not. The trailer makes you think that, but actually, the funny thing is, I like the dynamic between the two characters, because she's kind of like, oh, it's yes, she's sassy and she's the new 007, but then it's like, but there's also, in fact, there's a mutual, when James Bond comes back, there's a bit of banter, there's a mutual respect there, when eventually their goals align and they go for the same thing, even though she's going at him, you can see underneath that there is a genuine mutual respect there. And that's what I kind of like about it, so there's a competitiveness, but then there's mutual respect. And I think when you keep it like that, it's cool. So yeah, so all those factors and all those things, the first hour, you're like, yeah, okay, this is good. But my goodness, this is almost 3 hour long movie. And the middle part of it to the end, the second act, but certainly the middle part, I'm going to be honest, guys, I fell asleep. I think I dozed off for about 10 minutes because it was padded with stuff that just didn't really need to be there. It definitely could have been done in 2 hours. This was padded. Like, there was so much stuff that went on, and the biggest issue I have with this movie, right, is the villain. And the motivation behind the villain, because you're kind of like, when it comes down to it, Sulo, or the main villain guy, who you find out, it's like, you think it's his kid, but it's not his kid. I think it's Bond's kid or something along those lines. I possibly could have missed that out as I was sleeping. So I think you find out it is actually Bond's kid, but initially it's his kid, whatever. But you basically find out his plan is to basically hijack this Hercules project and basically use it to kill just tons of people. In the diabolical, evil Leia, the sort of cartoony Bond villain type of. It's almost like they went back to the original kind of cartoony Bond villain, that basically just does bad things for the sake of doing bad things. That was his villain. Because when you look at his motivation, it's like, I'm just angry. And it's like, so you went through all this, the hiring, all that stuff like that, because you basically have unresolved trauma. Your parents, your family were killed. You went to kill things, and then so you're doing it. There's no like, I want to get under control. There's just like, it's essentially boiled down to just, I'm angry at people who have nothing to do with my parents' killing. Bro, I mean, a couple of good sessions of therapy would have helped that. They really, really would have. So yeah, it was a bit strange, and I think that's why, for me, a lot of the middle plot or middle part to end of this movie didn't really add up so much, because it was like, where's this going? And it doesn't really go anywhere. So it's like, what was the point of all of this middle stuff that really didn't, I'm going here, just the kid even, I don't know. But just rounding things up, because I don't want this movie to go too long. The final scene, I think the sort of supposedly controversial thing where, like, because James Gunn gets infected by this nano thing, and he can't, and it's been switched to a way where, like, if you can't remove the nanobots, and if he gets anywhere near, and it's Madeline, that's it. So I say Bond girl, so it's Madeline, that's his girl, and his daughter, then he can't hold them or touch them, something like that again. And effectively, he chooses to stay on the island. Like, he probably could have escaped, let's be real. It's Bond. he's got plot armor. He probably could have stayed, but he chose not to. He chose to stay. He chose to die on the island. Although after the movie, it's like James Bond will return, which is probably not Daniel Craig, but someone different. But you know, is this the end of James Bond as we know it? Are we going to get a different interpretation? I don't know. I said overall, I think that it was a good movie. It was averaged a good movie. I think, like I said, the first hour was great. I like the build-up, the action sequences, the cinematography was awesome, but it could have been trimmed down. This really could have been trimmed down, in my personal opinion. I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people are going to make it out to be. Personally, for me, I would really like to see James Bond go back to the classy spy type of storyline. You know, almost like with Batman, where Batman movies became more action and blowing and all the rest of it. Whereas I like the more detective Batman going through cases type of thing. You know, it's that type of thing, like less superhero, more the profession and Israel that you're representing. You know, and maybe to add to that, it'd be nice for them to actually have like maybe focus on some of the secondary characters, maybe do some spin-offs to explore a story, because you really got to look at, I think some of the secondary characters really got a bit more say here, and it'd be nice to see a bit more story around them, focusing on those things and not just plot armor or Mary Sue's or the rest of it. Just well-driven, character-driven plot. But I mean, it's James Bond, so who knows? But anyway, that's my review. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, guys. If you're new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Marvel. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitch. Have a nice day, everyone, and cheers.